Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine. This podcast is sponsored by BoomCloud Dental Membership Software, www.boomcloudapps.com, and Veritas Dental Resources, www.veritasdentalresources.com. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast. I am your co-host today, Jordan Comstock. Today, Ben is out traveling, so we just keep missing each other. We're doing these episodes with and without each other. But today, I have an awesome guest. But first, before I introduce him, I want to make everyone know that Ben and I are doing an event November 2nd here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Just go to saynotopPPOs.com and you'll see at the top of our page it says event. We're going to be talking about reducing dependence on dental insurance with in-house membership programs. That's what I'll be talking about. Ben will be talking about negotiating fees with insurance companies and taking back that control of increasing your profit margins. And then we have Genevieve Poppy, who's also been on our show, she's going to be talking about verbiage tips and ways to increase case acceptance through verbal communication skills. So it's going to be an awesome event. We're offering 6 credits of CE. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'd love to meet all of our listeners out there as well. So go to the page on saynotopppos.com, and we'd happy to see you guys here in Salt Lake City. So today we have Cory Pinniger from CallForce. I almost read the website there, Cory, but give you guys a quick introduction of Cory. He's the CEO of CallForce, a dental solutions company dedicated to helping dentists across the country succeed in their practices by helping them improve their overdue hygiene recall, which is super important, if you ask me. Cory's not helping dentists out, he enjoys keeping active and loves to play golf and tennis in his spare time. Cory, do you go and do the Top Golf here in Utah?
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Awesome. That's all I wanted to know, because we do that every once in a while. Welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Totally. I know we've been trying to get you on for a while. I officially met you, I believe, at Laura Hatch's event here in Salt Lake City,
yep.
Right? And we chatted for a little bit before the conference, and went out to dinner with Laura Hatch and everyone there, and we had a good time. So we're bringing you on today to share your wisdom with our audience. So I'm curious, though, how did you get started in the dental industry?
That is a good question. So I actually initially worked for Weave Communications, the VoIP dental company.
Yeah, everybody knows Weave, I think.
I had a family member working at Weave, and I got a job there a couple years ago and started in the dental world from that, and somehow can't escape it by now.
You have the same problem I have, right? So I started in the dental industry, managed my dad's dental lab, and once you're in this industry, there's no way you can't get out. You're stuck now.
I totally agree. Well, You realize it's so good as well, and that it's such like a hidden treasure that you get into it, and you're like, there's so much to do and so many ways that we can improve as an overall industry that it's hard not to leave.
Totally, and I remember.
Or it's hard to leave.
It's hard. Yeah, it is hard.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to leave. I remember in the early days when I before I had the idea to start BoomCloud, I have always had entrepreneur friends that advised me, because I've always wanted to start a company, and I at the dental lab I got sick of the industry, right? To be honest, and I shouldn't say the industry. It was more. I look back now and it's more just the way we were managing the lab. It just was hard. And I remember one of my advisors who has built companies and sold them for multi-millions of dollars. He's like, why do you want to leave the dental industry? Because I wanted to get out. And he's like, the dental industry is probably one of the more stable, good industries to be a part of. Why don't you build something for the dental industry? And I'm like, okay, that's actually a good idea. I know it like the back of my hand. So that's kind of how I decided to stay in the industry, because one of my advisors said, don't leave.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like everybody in the industry the majority of people, they stick around. So, and it's a good small
We're
network
lifers.
Yeah, and that's really what I like to see in people and companies, if they can really be dedicated to an industry. Because I think that's, including myself, right? That's one of my goals, is just to be extremely dedicated to the industry. So awesome, man. So tell us, you started with Weave. How did you get involved with your current company, CallForce?
So CallForce was actually a division within Weave Communications before. So about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, my partner and I actually had the option or the opportunity to purchase a division from within Weave from them. And we took that opportunity up and rebranded the company and just have grown it since then.
Very cool, man. So, I mean, you're a young guy. I met you. How old are you, actually?
I'm 24.
Nice. No, I love that, man. I was, I think, 23 when I started my first company, and I think that's a good thing to do. So what motivated you to buy it from Weave? Like, that's a pretty big commitment, if you ask me, right?
There was so much potential and so much opportunity that we began to realize. And truthfully, we didn't even understand a tenth of the actual potential. But slowly, as we've kind of knocked off the dust off our product and understood it and understood the value deep within overdue patient recall, I mean, now we are just, it's so important. And so we didn't fully understand it. We thought we did. And it's just been, our eyes have been opened more and more.
Awesome, man. Yeah, super cool. So, all right, we're going to ask you a few questions, and hopefully you're going to educate our audience and everything. My first question is, what value is there within hygiene recall?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, because when you talk to most practices, it is something that they're already doing.
Yeah,
They're sending text messages, they're sending emails, and guess what? They're calling when they have time. I'll just give a few examples of recent case studies that we've done on how much money practices are sitting on. We had a practice join us 60 days ago. We have scheduled 25 overdue patients for them so far.
Wow.
And so far, from those 25 overdue patients, they've generated almost $24,000 of additional revenue.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's one example. Just from a couple hours of sitting down and making effective calls, $24,000 of revenue has been generated from patients they already had on their books. They just had to schedule them, get them in front of the dentist, get them in front of the hygienist, and help the patient out, which in turn helps the practice out. So, you know what, we can even go to a much larger example. There's a practice who's been with us, Jordan, for I think 8.5 months now. And we've done 329 scheduled appointments for them so far.
Wow.
And we have generated $192,716 in additional revenue from those appointments so far.
Holy smokes, man. So it's a big deal value-wise. Most practices, you said initially, I think before the recording, practices kind of just sporadically do this, right?
Yeah, I mean, all the time. We'll talk to people at events, or we'll talk to companies we even work with. And when the hygienist has an open slot, she makes some calls. When the office manager or front desk receptionist has some calls, or the dentist is even bringing in one of their own family members to make the calls. And it's effective, but there's much, much more effective ways. And when we're more effective and efficient, that's when we're really capitalizing on what we're sitting on.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So the biggest problem you see out there then is practices just aren't committing to the time it takes to generate the revenue from recalls.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. If I'm lightly going to go into it, it would be that they haven't built a system. A system is not, oh, we have free time, let's make some calls. A system is, okay, let's dedicate 2.5 hours a week when we're actually going to make some calls.
Yeah.
And whoever's going to make these calls, let's train them to be effective when they make these calls.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of easy tickers, and we can even talk about that later when we're wrapping up, like 3 or 4 things practices can do that will just make a night and day difference, so that it's just not putting in the time, but that when they're putting in the time, they're seeing results, because we've done this for 10 years.
Yeah.
So we know what works and we know what doesn't.
Yeah. And really, I mean, it really boils down to most patients, most situations like this, right, probably have some pretty clear and pretty predictable like objections from patients or things like that, right, that you can get around in getting them back into the practice, so I'd imagine doing it as long as you guys have, you guys know some pretty good tips and tricks to make it a little bit more efficient for practices. So,
yeah, and there's one common myth that I think dentists somehow have wound up in their head, and people within the office, that the people who aren't coming back in somehow are avoiding the dentist like the hawk. Like they're just running away. They see the dentist sign and they're running a mile down the street. That's entirely not true. Most people just don't have their schedules in front of them, or don't place it as a priority. But when you actually,
or they're distracted by getting like a big screen TV and they want to spend all their money and time getting that, right? Versus I need to get some fillings for my kids, or I need to get a crown that I've been pushing off. I know so many people that are like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's just so many examples of when we call people, they say to us all the time, well, I've been meaning to text you back, or I've been meaning to call in. I just, haven't had the time, and thanks for calling.
Yeah. People are just are busy, right? It's not on the top of the mind like it is. Dentistry is always on my mind. Dentistry is always on office manager's mind. Dentistry is always on the dentist's mind, and everyone involved, right? But it's not always on the patient's mind. So I definitely think having some sort of system, like you say, Cory, in the practice to help with this is definitely going to improve and generate revenue in a more predictable manner, right? So let's talk here. Question number 2: What are some of the biggest mistakes, since we're kind of already going that way? What are some of the biggest mistakes practices do when they're with recall?
So generally, when practices are calling during the day, they're getting about 91% voicemails. And so the more towards evening hours that you call, Jordan, the more people are likely to be home. So yes, you may have an open hygiene slot at 10:30 in the morning, but everyone's out, or you're going to receive minimal people. So when you make your calls, make them effective. And the second big mistake that we have is when we're doing them, we're on Facebook, or we're half-heartedly doing them, because truthfully, they're kind of a pest sometimes. The tone of voice that we engage our clients and patients with makes the biggest scheduling difference that we see. So it's just, hey, Jordan, I noticed you were overdue, but hey, Jordan, the doctor actually noticed you're overdue for your professional hygiene cleaning. We'd love to get you scheduled. That tone of voice right there can make a considerable difference in how often you're scheduling people.
Well, and saying, I like how you said the doctor. Like, that makes it seem like the doctor is like very conscious and aware that individual patient is overdue, right? And I think that builds some credibility, and it also builds trust with the practice, right? They're thinking, oh, the doctor's actually cares about my teeth and my health, right? And he's interested in having me come back, right? So I think that's a really unique approach.
Absolutely.
So awesome. What other mistakes have you seen with so calling on the wrong times? That's one, and then we have maybe using the wrong tone.
Yeah, and that's more of just a skill that can be developed. So I probably misplaced that.
Those are soft skills, but they're very important. Soft skills can be very critical to any business, right? So improving the soft skills. So do you think having like a script, kind of like what you said there, you said the doctor has noticed that you're overdue. Is that something that you recommend every practice use?
Yeah. So what we found to really work effectively for us, and obviously each person should tailor it to them so that they're still them.
Of course.
But generally what we recommend is, hey, Jordan, this is Cory calling from Dr. Smith's Family Dental. How are you? obviously let the person respond and then say, hey, Jordan, the doctor actually is having me call today because he or she noticed you're overdue for your professional hygiene cleaning, and we'd love to schedule you for that. And then say, you know what, actually we have a couple times open this week, one in the morning, one in the mid-afternoon, and one near the evening hours. Which would work best for you? And so what we're doing there, Jordan, is we're presenting you with a yes or yes or yes option. We're not saying, oh, would you like to come in or not to come in, but saying which one works for you. So you have to deliberately come back to us and give us an option we didn't present you for you not to schedule. So sometimes we leave the window. Once you say no, it's easy for someone to say no. But if you show them, hey, we're going to work with your schedule, when's best for you, they're usually going to take it.
Yeah, totally. Awesome, man. So we got those that are some of the mistakes there. Anything else that a practice is doing that they could do better on?
And we'll touch about this in a second, but just lightly, practices often are making these calls, but if you find out John Smith is out of the area or seeing a different doctor or has passed away, inactivate them so that whoever makes the call next isn't going back in and wasting time of the person and of the practice calling people who aren't going to come back in. So as practices keep clean records, they're going to use their time effectively.
Yeah, I agree. So keeping clean records, it sounds like a common issue where practices, they call patients and then don't update the records, which that makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So clean those records up. Goodness. Okay, so next question I've got for you. What are the effective systems and techniques offices can set up to help them tap into the value of recall?
Yeah. So right off the bat, make sure that you are setting a designated time. Okay. There's so much value for the doctor in setting designated times.
Block out schedule each day is what you're saying, and say at 1 o'clock we're gonna, or whatever the time is, we're gonna call X amount of patients for recall.
Yeah, and we would highly recommend you do 3 p.m. or after, truthfully 4 p.m., because people actually start to get home at that point.
Yep.
So we want to make sure when you're making those calls, people are actually picking up.
Okay. So later in the day, because that makes perfect sense. I'm not home during my day. Again, I don't have a phone line, so I just have my cell phone, right? So anyone can call me during the day and get access, but I don't typically answer my phone if it's like a personal call during the day. I'm focused here at Boom Cloud. I'm focused at work, and I'm in mainly meetings most of the day. So the same can be true for your patients. So respect that out of them. Nobody's just waiting for the dentist to call them, in the middle of their workday, right? Nobody, not a soul.
I believe data should drive our decisions, and if you make calls later in the day, you're twice as likely to get people on the phone than typically in the day. So the later you call, around 4 to 5 to 6, twice as likely to get patients on the phone. That speaks for itself right there.
Okay, so call later in the day. What other systems and techniques can they do to be successful with recall?
Yeah, first of all, the script that we already went over. Next, the tone of voice. Make it a little higher than you're actually typically used to, because it's over the phone.
You're excited. It sounds like you're excited when you talk a little bit higher, right? And
yep.
And like if you're like, "Hey, patient, this is Jessica from Dr. So-and-so's office. Just calling," right?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, people. Yeah, I've gotten calls from that from like medical offices. And it like drives me insane. I'm like, gosh, you're really excited to talk to me here, right? So think like that. Think like the patient, right? they're the end user or the end recipient of what you're doing. So think what's going to make them happy and excited that they're getting a call from the practice, right? At least that's my tip there.
No, I wholeheartedly. Patient experience is everything.
Patient experience is everything, and we can go into that because I think patient experience is probably the number one thing that practices should focus on. Recently, I did a course here in Utah with Gary Takis, and Gary is huge on talking about the patient experience. And in reality, that's what's going to get patients referring you. That's going to get patients liking or enjoying the time that they spent there. And then that's what's going to make them give a good review for the practice, which that's really what matters.
And
go ahead.
People spend money advertising. And if they come in once and then leave, the return on investment for a dental practice is not worth it.
No way.
So when they come in, treat them as gold, and every time they come in, and when you talk to them, because within the dental world, sometimes I think we beat the new patient drum too much and not the retention drum.
I think they're equally important, if you ask me. I think if you're not growing, you're dying, but if you're not retaining, you're also dying, right? So it's like practices, need to understand the importance of attracting new patients, but also reactivating or recalling those patients back in as they do it. And I mean, that's honestly kind of what we do with Boom Cloud and with the in-house membership programs. That's another tool to help with recall. So for example, Cory, if somebody were signed up to a practice's membership program and they've already prepaid for the year, it makes recall so much easier when you call them up like, hey, you're a member of our program, but you're overdue. Let's get you in. You've already paid for it. Boom.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a huge tool for recall, and it makes the important task of recall a little bit easier, right, to get the patient back into the door. And I think just focusing on the patient experience, from whether it's just talking to them on the phone or when they're in the office, that's going to do wonders for your practice. I've had practices create in-house membership programs that they do an awesome job of selling the patients, but they do a horrible job at making those patients have a good experience. So we talk about attrition, right, or patients leaving. They have an issue with that. They're really good at selling or getting new patients in the door, but they got a huge retention problem. And that's like filling a bucket that has a bunch of holes in it and trying to maintain the water, right, that you put in it. So I'm a big believer in patient experience, and I think that's gonna help a lot of practices if they focus on that. So anyways, those are my 2 cents, Cory.
I love it.
Let's move on to the another question. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think we kind of mashed it all together, and just build an effective system. Build one that works for you and follow it. It's easy to set up a system. It's easy for me to build a system, but to consistently execute on that system is what will drive ridiculous results for the practices.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about having systems as well, because if I didn't have systems here at Boom Cloud, I think my company would fall apart. Right? If we didn't have sales systems, marketing systems, retention systems, things like that, it would be very hard to manage. Does a system mean perfect? No, but you can always optimize it to get better, right? That's kind of my philosophy when it comes to systems. Okay, so Cory, let's talk a little bit more about CallForce. What do you guys do? I think it's a cool name, but what do you guys do? It's a rad name.
Yeah, so
I love the name.
So some practices are really good at doing it, and then some others realize that it's better to outsource it. Some dentists realize, you know what, I'm good at the dentistry part, I'm not good at the marketing part. You hire a marketing firm. Totally. And so we are just
that's why we exist too, right? We help practices automate, and they outsource their management of the plan. So keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. So no, you gave I love the analogy that you gave a minute ago of you're pouring water in a bucket that has holes. We are the team that is plugging those holes. And so we're an overdue patient recall company. We're real people calling from the practice's phone number from 5 to 7:30 at night. And we're scheduling these overdue patients right back into their practice management software. So we basically take the task that sometimes is hard for a practice and make sure that we're the system and that it consistently happens.
Very cool. So from 4 to, did you say 4 to 7 or 5 to 7?
5 to 7:30.
So that's what time your service kicks on if a practice is using you guys.
Yeah, and it's real people, so it's not automated robocalls or anything like that.
It's a service. So very cool, because that's nice that you've got real people, because that's, in my experience in dentistry, patients like the hometown feel, right, of a practice. Like they want to know that the doctor knows their name and they know the doctor. It's a very personal relationship, in my opinion. So having a human being versus like an automated freaking bot call is horrible. So very cool. You're using real humans in this day and age, which is, I think, very cool.
Yeah, and something that separates our company apart is that we actually only charge people if we schedule an appointment. So there's no monthly service fees. There's no contracts.
It's kind of like a commission type model then.
Yes, sir.
Like, hey, look, we'll schedule these guys for you, but if we call 10 and only 2 answer, we're only going to charge you for 2.
We don't even charge you if
to schedule. To schedule. So if we call 10 and 2 schedule, then we charge you for 2, but we've done the work of 10.
Yep.
For 10. Very cool, man. Yeah, I think that's an excellent approach to that pricing model there for you. So cool. Keep going. So I don't mean to cut you off so much.
No, this is a conversation.
Yeah.
Let me talk.
Let me talk.
And no, we're actually a really simple service. Our customers generally see a 20 to 30x return on investment. So for every dollar they're spending, they're seeing about $20 to $30 of revenue created within their practice.
Wow.
And so there's nothing crazy to it, but recall falls on the back burner because guess what? Everyone wears 5 hats within the practice or more.
Yeah. And
so we're taking one of the important hats and just making sure that we're the generator who keeps the bucket from not dripping.
Very cool. Yeah. I think simple services are what the industry needs, right? If you go too complex, in my opinion, and this goes for just practices in general, right? If you complicate it for your patients, it makes it hard for them to understand, right? No matter what it is, whether you're educating patients about a crown or anything. So simple services, in my opinion, are king. So I love that you're doing this in the industry, man. So you've been doing it for 10 years. Very simple. You charge on commission, basically, if it's successful for scheduling, which I think. And
we're not commissioned. We're just a standard fee, but close to commission.
Okay. Yeah. That's how I guess look at it, but it's similar, but not really.
All as well.
Yeah. Very cool, dude. Okay, so tell us if a practice wants to get in touch with you, man, what's the best way for them to do it? What's your process?
Yeah, so anyone can go to our website. It's just www.getcallforce.com. Uh-huh. And more so than anything, we're just not a promoter of ourselves. We are a promoter that just overdue patient recall happens. Yeah. I'm not here to sling CallForce today. I'm actually here to provide systems to other people from what we've learned. So if someone wants to even reach out to me about a system or a question about our service or any way we can just help any practice, you can reach me at Cory, Cory, at getcallforce.com.
Perfect. And then you guys can practices schedule like calls online, or they just call in?
They're on our website. There is a demo form, and you can submit for information, and we'll set up a time with you from there.
Awesome, dude. Do you guys do webinars or like ebooks for like resources or anything? This is just me talking now.
Yeah, no, we haven't yet, but it is something that we're looking at producing some more content in the upcoming future. Just obviously some it's resources. Still on the up and coming.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Trust me. Very cool, man. Cory, this has been awesome having you on our show, dude. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
No, I mean, it's a pleasure to be here today. It's a pleasure to share what we've learned from 10 years of data. And more than anything, I just want practices to build a system to capture what they're already spending money on.
Very cool. Okay, everybody, I appreciate you guys listening to our show today. Reach out to Cory and his team if you're interested in generating more revenue through recall. I think it's an excellent service. Also, just a reminder, we've got the event November 2nd. Go to saynotoppos.com and you'll see our events page. Go research it, and we've got a bunch of CE that we're willing to give you guys, and looking forward to having a good time. So, Cory, again, thank you so much for coming on our show today, and we hope you all have a great day today.
Thanks, everyone.